Okay, everybody, I am on page 519. Today's lesson's easy, but a little confusing, so I'm going to do my best to make it not confusing. So what's confusing is the title is greatest integer, okay? So greatest integer, you have to be careful. 2.34, the greatest integer is 2. You don't round up. 2.99999, the greatest integer is 2. So what I tell kids, when you see greatest integer, you round down. One way to do it is also to look at on a number line, and the idea is you're always going to slide down to the integer. So for instance, 2 is just an integer, 2. But then 0.17 is right about here, you slide down to 0. 2.34 is right about here, you slide down to 2, to its integer. Negative 0.12 is about here, slide down to negative 2, okay? 2.99999 is right here, almost 3, but just slide down to 2. Negative 0.2 is right about here, but just slide down. Remember, you're going to slide down to negative 1, okay? So you just have to take good notes on this and write that down, okay? So then, if we graph this, we slide down, we slide down, we slide down. It turns out to be a step function. They do call it the bottom function or the floor because it's like the bottom step, okay? That's why they call it the floor, okay? Now, just the opposite of that is where they call the least integer function, okay? So let's take a look at the next page. So the next page, they call it the least integer function, but we're going to slide up, okay? Or round up. So 2 is an integer, it just stays at 2. But 0.17, which is about here, we slide up to 1. 2.34 is right about here, we slide up to 3, to the next integer. Negative 1.2 is here, we slide up to negative 1. 2.99999 is here, and we slide up to 3. Negative 0.2 is right about here, we slide up to 0. We slide up to the next integer, and it's a very similar step function, except for you got it sliding up, slide up, slide up, slide up, okay? Ceiling function, because it's the top step, right? And of course, what do you compare? The comparison is one is the top step, the other is the bottom step, okay? Now, let's take a look at 10, okay? 10. So in 10, she parks her car for 3.2 hours, but she gets charged 4 hours. So we round it up, so that's a least integer. Remember, it's the opposite, okay? She mails it. It's $34.25, but she gets $34 of reward points, so they round it down. So it's the greatest integer. Remember, it's just the opposite. Now, C is a trick question because it's both, okay? You go from 88.3 on the points to sliding down, but then you got 92.5 and you slide up. It can't be both, up and down, so it's neither, okay? And finally on D, we've got a yogurt of 4.2 ounces, slides up to 5. 5.7 ounce slides up to 6. If we're sliding up, it's the least greatest integer, okay? And that's all we had for homework, and we did, or for the lesson, and the homework did page 523, and we did 524. So that's all I have. I will see you tomorrow.